First of all, you're not talking about me. I know how to rap.
I, you know,
My
I
opinions
guess
are
we're gonna
brilliant.
start there, huh?
My opinions are brilliant, and I know how to rap. So the nigga ain't talking about me. But let's go.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. So, Benny the Butcher got on the Breakfast Club to promote his upcoming album, which we did get some information about. LT texted me earlier, and he told me he texted
He
you as
texted me
well.
too.
Yeah, he told me he texted you as well. So, we'll talk about that. But he got on the Breakfast Club and said that they talked about critics, and I think that was one of the questions Charlamagne asked him about people. He asked him about the statement that Benny made a while back when he said that people need to focus on the music as opposed to critiquing first. And when he said something along the lines of people review an album, when it comes out, you got to give it time to breathe and stuff. I thought about the format of our show, and one of the things that stuck out to me is he said that he respects professional opinions and not the unprofessional opinions. And it kind of made me think like, okay, well, when it comes to sports, can we not talk about sports because we don't work for ESPN? Like we all talk about sports, we all talk about music. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what barbershop talk and all that stuff is about. And what is the professional opinion? Is the professional opinion what we saw last year with the Killer Mike album, where all of the people who work for major corporations were saying the same jargon in relation to that album and its dominance in 2023? Is it about those people, or is it about the people out here who are listening and who are in the chat and who are real, connoisseurs of the music and who are buying the merch for artists and going to the shows?
I mean, here's the reality of the matter. Griselda as a whole started out as a grassroots thing.
Yeah.
And I still think in a lot of ways it's still grassroots.
I do too.
And I think the deeper conversation is that why does Griselda keep running the media outlets consistently that don't support them the way that organizations like us have supported them? I think that's the real conversation. And so I'm super excited for this Benny album. I'm super excited to share this information that LT, decided to pass on us. Is coming directly from Benny's manager. Nice little inside scoop he's given according to hip hop, and it's much appreciated. But the reality of the matter is that, this is it's a little deflecting going on and trying to pivot, because the real question in the conversation is that, well, why aren't you galvanizing with the organizations like ours that really galvanize you? Because here's the reality of the matter. The Breakfast Club not about to talk about Benny when Benny not there.
Yep.
They're not. Hot 97 is not going to talk about Benny and Conway and Westside unless they up there kicking a freestyle. And you want to know how we know, Mike? Because they don't.
They've said it. Star went on Flex and questioned Flex about why they were playing Glorilla and not Griselda. And Flex said, well, they could come up here and spit a freestyle. And Star said, no, play their record. So no, it's been said. Like that's not even just an observation.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
like,
been said.
Jesus Crisis should have been played on Hot 97.
Yeah.
The Braun record should be spinning right now. When I mean right now, I mean it's 12:42. The Braun record should be spinning in New York right now on every major station.
I tell you what, if Mike D and Coop had a radio show, they would be getting some play. But I don't know if they would come to Mike D and Coop's radio show to actually do an interview. And I don't even want to say I don't know. They wouldn't. I mean,
well, they wouldn't because they have it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, so Fresh Out did a post. Shout out to Fresh Out. They did a post a few weeks ago about Che Noir, and I jumped in, and Che actually responded to a couple of my tweets until I talked about how I would love to have her on, and then she ghosted my ass.
It's interesting, right?
It's fascinating. It's like, so you'll talk to me for a minute on Twitter. I'll give you your props. I give Love all her props. I respect them. I'm an accurate rater and reviewer of music. In my personal opinion, I'm the best at it. like period, like whatever space or medium you're talking. I do feel like I'm currently the best reviewer, and I think I'm one of the better interviewers as well. And I mean, it's not a personal thing because I'm used to them pulling this move, but the way she just stopped talking to me as soon as I brought up the possibility of actually having a conversation with her, it was one of those things where it's like, don't y'all know who really feeding y'all and supporting y'all though?
It's
Because it ain't the
interesting.
people that y'all keep. I mean, like, there's a reason that B, like you see how B Dot played them and like West Side responded with it, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like, truthfully though, that's what you get for befriending his ass instead of people like us who are quite frankly more loyal to the soil and more loyal to your movement and really understand what you're trying to do.
We're about the
And
music, you know what I
so,
mean?
because here's the thing, like all this pandering to those larger outlets hasn't yielded any platinum plaques now, has it?
That's the
Because they
truth.
don't really play, because they don't really play or support your shit like they should.
Yeah, and they're not going to either.
And they're not going to.
But I don't even want to be like this all the way because shout out to Jay Skis and shout out to Love the Genius who have sat down with us. And, those are people from that camp who jumped at the chance. And I'm honored the fact that they were on the ride that they're on and would love and wanted to share it with us. But it's one thing that, I ain't tripping on not getting no interview or anything like that. That's cool because at the end of the day, it's about you guys. I really wanted somebody from that somebody who's on a run like they are to speak with the people, and it's about them speaking to you guys more so than it is about speaking to us, right? But the part
Right.
that gets
Like you
me
don't gotta
is the fact that you're gonna get on the most mainstream platform who really don't even talk about hip hop music and kind of down the grassroots, whether they're talking about us or not. Could be talking about some of our contemporaries, who knows? But at the end of the day, you're talking about that grassroots fan base. And that right there is a problem. And you're getting on a platform with people who don't even speak to the people that take in your music. I don't
well,
understand it.
I think some people have what I'm saying in the chat confused. I'm not talking about me. I mean, if you want to know how I really feel at the end of the day, I don't care if none of them ever speak to me. I really don't care like that, Mike. Like, I'm not that
Yeah.
guy. But what I'm speaking to is behavior. And the behavior that the crew displays is like, well, they'll go sit down with mainstream people who don't support their stuff instead of the grassroots who do. I don't give a shit if none of them ever come on according to hip hop or not personally. It don't really make me none or matter me none. I told you I'm in Atlanta anyway. I'm more concerned with building out our brand in Atlanta than I am in New York anyway, just on a personal level because I like to walk around my own city and old neighborhoods that I've lived in and have that respect. And there's no New Yorker that's about to give me that shit or get that for me. So I don't need them down here at all. And according to hip hop, doesn't need them because outside of Love and Jay Skis, nobody from their campus ever came on. So they're not pushing, according to hip hop, forward. They're not pushing my agenda in Atlanta forward. I need them about as much as they need me. I'm speaking to the behavior.
Ohio
And the
K.
behavior is
Go
that
ahead.
you run to outlets that don't support you. And that's the part of it that I'm questioning. I'm still about to review the music fairly.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about the Che Noir and Love, the Genius project. I'm super excited about Benny's project, especially after this Braun shit, because this shit that Hit gave Benny is a banger, Mike.
It is.
That shit got bounce. It got vibe. His flow is stellar on here. I'm always going to give them their props. I'm speaking to the behavior. It's not
Yeah,
about
it's
me.
about the music, man. All that other stuff, man. It to me, circumventing your own fan base, it just doesn't make sense to me, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And when you know that there are platforms that are going to talk about you because the fans want us to talk about you, and we want to talk about what you're making as hip hop fans ourselves. For you to kind of just skirt around that and those individuals, but almost, what I'm saying, go out your way to rock with people who don't rock with you, I just don't understand it.
I mean, I want to talk about people who are making great hip hop music on this show.
Yeah.
And since we've been doing the show, they've been one of the main proponents of that. I would say, short of the Nas and Hit Boy run, they have been the main proponents of quality hip hop music being made.
Right.
And so I'm going to continue to talk about them, but it's something that's worth addressing just from, I mean, Mike, there's something psychological about it. It's like how, some people want what's not being given to them instead of accepting what's in front of them already.
Ohio K with the super chat says a healthy Browns team makes it how far next year? I think the Browns have potential, and they have a lot of injuries.
They look better with Joe Flacco than did Deshaun Watson. So what do you mean by healthy? Yeah. You talking about Nick Chubb?
Yeah,
because I love Nick. Nick wasn't stopping that ass whooping yesterday.
No.
And I haven't seen this, and I haven't seen the real Deshaun Watson since he was actually in Houston.
Yeah. Reggie with the super chat says Benny took shots at Coop in his King Joffrey Joe robe. Huh.
I like my robe. I'm at home. Very comfortable.
LP with the super chat says Griselda be killing ops on record, but be crying about fans on SM. Then defend the media that's not showing them love. They have Stockholm syndrome. Dot with the super chat says Griselda can't even go gold. Well, listen.
No, see, this is what I'm saying. I think they could if they played more to their actual market. That's what makes the conversation fascinating.
You know who does that? People like Tech-9. They know who their fans are. They know where their fans are, and they're not running to outlets just to say that they ran to them. Tech-9 is about, he understands his business. He understands who he makes music for and who's going to take in that music, who's going to be at his shows, who's going to buy merch, and he understands who's not. And he's not going to go waste his time in places that aren't going to support him when he's not there.
I mean, here's the reality of the matter.
Currency's like that too. He understands his audience.
They should be going everywhere. Like, as an artist, I never forget when 50 said, 50's right when he says this. There's no such thing as bad publicity, like when you're an entertainer and an artist, because it can all potentially help your bottom line. And so it's like him going and doing, Benny making the rounds, like with Breakfast Club and like all those guys. Oh no, if they're accepting you for an interview or for some slot time, you should definitely do it. It could only really benefit you like in the long run about spreading yourself around musically. But what I'm saying is that there appears to be this thing with them where they would rather do that than do this. And this is where their bread was buttered first. And I'm not saying according to hip hop, I'm saying organizations
just
like according to hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, just grassroots organization. Well, this was where your bread was buttered, and you should not forget that during your comeuppance. It's one of those things, the same people that you see on the way up is the same people you're going to see on the way back down. And so you should be mindful of those things because there's going to come a time, and some people have felt this time has already come, where you're not going to be the hottest thing in the streets anymore. And best believe when you're not the hottest thing in the streets anymore, none of those major people like B-Dot, Charlemagne, Elliot, oh no. As soon as you're not hot, they're not going to support you again. And so they should be mindful of that based on how they built it, Mike. There's nothing wrong with me saying that.
It feels like, and it is what it is. It feels like, you know what, they're just too big for our platform. That's what it is. Let's just call it what it is, right?
That's fine, Mike. This is what I'm saying.
That's the mentality. I'm just calling it what it is.
Hold on. So were Hit Boy and Chris the Glove Taylor.
I know.
Hit Boy, listen to this. Hit Boy has a diamond plaque, Mike.
Yep.
And he retweeted my post on Twitter this weekend and said, Coop,
always.
Chris the Glove Taylor, Mike, had a platinum plaque when we were fucking 3 years old.
Yep.
Quadruple platinum plaque when we were 3 years old. Chris the Glove Taylor had a quadruple platinum plaque when niggas wasn't going platinum in this business.
Hit Boy always reposts.
Mike, and he pulled up not for 1 week, not for 2 weeks,
but
for 3 straight weeks.
Yeah.
And still shouts me out to this day.
Yep.
So they're not too big for us.
I'm telling you what the mentality is.
Like people talk about my ego. It ain't my ego that we need to be talking about because I can hit Boy up and Hit Boy is going to respond.
Yeah.
He's bigger than that entire camp combined.
He's always been very responsive. He even sat down in an interview at the height of what him and Nas were doing. So yeah, shout out to Hit Boy for that. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat, and great example by the way. Said unfortunately, people most often seek love from those that don't love them, and those that already love them are taken for granted. And it's a lot of that going on, and that's the other thing too. A platform like the Breakfast Club, like you said, if you get an opportunity, they're reaching out to you, take it. Why not? But let's be honest. Who really listens to the Breakfast Club? What's that demo like? Like if Breakfast Club is selling ad space or iHeartRadio is selling ad space for the Breakfast Club to corporations, who are they going to tell that corporation their core demographic is? That core demographic is more than likely, and I don't know their numbers, probably going to be somewhere between that 25 to 34 female bracket, right? Now, do you feel like Griselda makes music for that audience?
I don't, but I don't see. This is the thing about it. Oh no, I have no problem with them spreading their wings. They want a new demographic, Mike, because they want more notoriety, and so that 25 to 34 female demographic that you're talking about, well, Benny going on there, that might have caught him a few thousand more fans. I get that part of the process.
I have no problem with that either, but that's all the more reason that you need to spread your wings to all the places. You know what I'm saying? You don't just leave that for leave the actual audience you have for a new audience that you don't have yet, and don't treat that audience that you already have. You know what I mean? Do all of them.
Yeah, do all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But also, too, Mike, part of me feels like, well, some people don't like answering the tough questions.
Well, that too. And,
yeah, some people don't like answering the tough questions. And a lot of the more grassroots organizations ask tougher questions.
You know what I also think it is, too? I think he's feeling the pressure of this music. And he knows we're going to talk about the music. And I'm not just saying us, we're just talking about grassroots media. When I say us, I'm talking about grassroots media altogether, not just Mike D and Coop. We're going to talk about the music, and we're going to hold the music to account to a whole different level than somebody like the Breakfast Club. While they don't break down album reviews, they'll just say, oh, this is hot, this person's cold, this person's popping. They probably don't even really listen to the records, to be honest. I can't even tell you that. I mean, there's nothing that I could point to say that from a music standpoint that Charlamagne's even credible in breaking down music in this era. Like, what do I have to point to on that? And look at B-Dot's list. Look at B-Dot's list. We see it all the time. These people are out of touch. So they're not going to critique the music on that level. But for the people who are in touch with what's going on musically, you want to sit here and call them haters because they're actually critiquing the music. I think there's a fear that the grassroots media of hip-hop is going to be very tough on the material that's coming out in ways that the mainstream media won't.
We should be.
Yeah.
What we're here. I mean,
if the music is good, none of this is a factor. You know what I'm saying?
It's not. It's about the music at the end of the day for me. And it's like, I have a hard time believing that Charlamagne knows the words to Rubber Bands and Wait and 97 Hove and Rick like you and I do. I was playing Rick the other day, Mike. That's still my favorite Benny record. It's like, no, I play fam. I support their music. I stream their music. I'm a fan.
If it's dope, it's dope.
If it's good, it's good. And I really do. And anybody that knows me know this. Oh, I want to see all my people win. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want them to get all their accolades and all the stuff that they deserve. I told them I don't want them getting like the Mobb Deep treatment where it's like shit's just going gold and never really goes platinum, and only stretches but so far, and then you find them making a Hey Love one day. Like, I don't want that for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I feel it's my duty from the position that you and I sit in to try to help an organization like that in any way that I can. I just find it kind of odd that they don't want our type of help.
And and we've always supported the movement because the music was dope, and wasn't because of any personal relationships or anything like that. And again, it doesn't matter if people sit down or not. I would love for them to, for the fans' sake, and just as a hip hop fan's sake. But if they don't, that's fine as well. But just going on mainstream platforms, lashing out at the grassroots, I just don't understand it. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Coop, to your point, Hit Boy has retweeted 3 of my tweets over the past year. And I'm just regular, non-media, non-celebrity dude. That's
Right.
when you're grounded, you know? And shout out to Hit Boy for that. But speaking of Hit Boy, you want to read what LT sent us earlier?
I do, since we're on the subject of the matter. LT and I had a nice conversation. Like, LT's a supportive brother.
Yeah, he is. Very dope brother out there in Little Rock, Arkansas. They want funk flex. I mean, listen, man. I don't know, man. It's I don't know, these trophies and adulations. I think sometimes it gets convoluted in what an artist really wants. I guess every artist wants something different for themselves, and I guess that would be the main question. What are you here for? Are you here to be, superstar on some, Jay-Z level? Or is it about the music, or is it about constantly serving your fan base? And I guess every artist jumps in this thing with different levels of what success means to them, or different definitions, of what success means to them. Because if you ask me, Currency is an incredibly successful artist. To some people, they might not think he is for whatever reason. Some people's level of success might look like Drake for them. You know what I'm saying? Some people's level of success might look like J. Cole for them. Some people's level might look like Big Crit for them. I don't know. And I guess that's what we don't know, what they deem as success. And, maybe
It's different for everybody.
yeah, maybe there's different variations
Different
for
for
each
everybody.
person in that camp. But it seems
Yeah.
like from actions, what they want is adulation from B. Dot.
Right.
Elliot
Like I
Wilson.
told you, Mike, success for me right now is being able to walk around the city of Atlanta and everybody know me as Coop from According to Hip Hop, and not like Coop from things that I've done or people that I've known or girls I've dated. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's success to me right now, because it's like, that's what I want. So it is different for everybody. This is so LT, shout out to LT again, and support LT's project too. His whole stop wearing dresses thing. I've always felt the way about the comedians and the dress thing. So I have. I always have. Because
Yeah.
I feel like there's some emasculation that goes on with the black man in this society, and that's part of the contribution that Hollywood has to it.
For sure.
But that's neither here nor there. So this is from Harlem, Black Soprano Family and Def Jam executive and Benny's manager. He said, "Good morning. During the recording process, Benny recorded 20 songs and picked 12 that fit the concept of Everybody Can't Go. Benny wanted to hit certain check marks with this album by expanding his sound and cadences to reach beyond the East Coast. He also said Hit Boy is the best producer for this aspect, and we agree here at According to Hip Hop. Hit Boy is the best producer in hip hop right now, period. But as far as expanding borders, he's definitely that." And so that was the statement. Can I say something right quick, Mike, before you comment on the statement?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that lets me know that he watches us, because we've been talking about and asking why this album is taking a year.
Mm-hmm.
So they hear us talking, they know who we are, or we wouldn't be getting this statement.
Right.
But I think this, and I told you, when we ended the show last week, I was like, oh no, this new Benny record, it got me excited, because I'm like, oh, if that's what you holding, that should have went first. To me, like, I shouldn't have heard Big Dog. I should have heard this. And I like Big Dog. That's a dope record.
Right.
But it's also showing me that he's setting the album up. Like, Big Dog's not a bad record. That's a dope record. So he's 2 for 2 in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That Braun record is fire.
I like it.
And I do like the fact, yeah, that shit's fire. I think it's the best rap song this year so far. I mean, it's early in the year. We're only halfway through January, but
Right.
of the 15 days that have existed in this year, it is the best rap song that I've heard this year. And when I tweeted Hit Boy, I let him know this is going to be a Song of the Year contender for the rest of the year, because it's like that. It's one of Benny's best records, Mike.
I agree. I think it's one of the stronger records that I've heard, for a minute from him. It'll probably go back to
Plugs.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I think this is his best record since Crown for Kings with Black Thought.
I was going to say something like that. Yeah, something in that era.
or the 18-wheeler joint with Pusha T.
And
But
that
I
was
think
what,
it might be better.
2019? That was 19, right?
That's 19.
Yeah.
But it might be better than both of those records, Mike. So I think you might actually have to go to Tana Talk. Which Tana Talk is it that got Rubber Bands and Weight and 97 Hove on it?
Tana Talk 3? Tana Talk
You
2,
got to
I'm
go
sorry.
back. I think it's better than almost everything he's made since Tana Talk 3. So he's in a nice zone. And I appreciate Harlem, sending the message along to LT to pass to us. I don't change or take back anything that I said previous to that.
No. I think everything is valid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I like 12 tracks. I think that's a really good spot. Putting out songs individually over time, I think it is I guess it could be the right move. He's trying to change the pattern of behavior of his listener, right? They're used to getting a lot of material from them all at once, frequently. And I think what he's trying to do is slow down that pace. And maybe that's why, he's sounding off about the critiques and the immediate criticism and trying to let things sit. Because how do you actually slow down the process? The way to slow down the process is to slow down how you're feeding, your base. Do you think of the 12 songs that are going to make it on the album, is it official that these 2 songs are going to be on the album?
Yeah, I think if you were to pull it up like on a platform,
gotcha.
I believe that there might be 3 songs available.
Let me see. I think it is 3 songs available because I remember when I was playing it. Yeah, it was there. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah, Braun, Big Dog, and One Foot In with Stove. The joint with Stove is hot too. That's what I'm saying. This is like, okay.
Yeah.
Like when I listen to these 3 records, I'm like, all right.
12 is a good spot to be at. Mad Max with the super chat
12
says,
is a great spot.
I seen Benny go on PSA Hip Hop and platforms like that. I don't know about their snubbing their fans like that.
I mean, nobody said that they were snubbing their fans. That's not what we said.
Well, that's what Mad Max is saying.
No, I get it. I mean, we just need to be quoted correctly because making that chat on this show, it makes it seem like we're saying it's like, oh, you niggas don't, are snubbing your fans.
No,
not saying that. It's not the rhetoric.
James Smith with the super chat says, "Do y'all have first week sales projections?"
Have to reach out to LT for that information, but I mean, it don't drop for another 9 days or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. Mad Max with another super chat says, and let's be for real about the so-called Griselda fans. Y'all really on them like that because they do a slowed down tempo of boom bap. I don't know if they fans like them for them.
Right. And also too, I mean, and we have to ask this question as well, because I mean, I didn't really realize it till like the whole AZ thing kind of, and people are like, we didn't even get a response from that either.
Right.
But then he went and like did all the rounds with all the New York stuff. Is PSA Hip Hop based out of the East Coast, Mike?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because I mean, not being funny, I've never heard of them. I mean, I don't know what their following's like, but I bet you they're probably a New York-based entity, and there seems to be a thing. And here's my thing with, if I was to say something about us, oh no, them niggas been down here.
I know
Rome specifically.
Rome has
in
gone
Atlanta for years.
Rome has gone to Rap Roundtable, and and shout out to Rome Streets or whatnot. Speaking to the base.
It was a good interview too. Yeah. I watched it.
So I don't know if it's a mentality where it's like, okay, well, let's look at like the Rockefeller system, right? So Memphis Bleak and Siegel and them can come interview with us, or let's just say Oskino and Sparks and things like that. But you're not getting Jay or let's just say Siegel in that sense, because I think there is a hierarchy with Siegel. So maybe that's kind of how it's being positioned, but I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, this ain't about us. It's I think you're doing your fans a disservice when your fans are grassroots and they are in tune with grassroots media, and you're not feeding that directly.
Well, a lot of the people who follow us love them.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Us.
Like, listen,
right.
at the end of the day, man, if I got a chicken shack, right, and I'm selling chicken or whatever I'm selling, If there's an outlet that loves my brand of chicken, I'm gonna go holler at that outlet no matter how small or big they are. It just makes sense. That's your customer base. If your customer base is here talking about hip hop and always talking about hip hop music and talking about you, whether you're active or not, when you are active, it would be a good idea to tap in with your fans through that outlet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think there is some stigma that comes with us, and most of it is probably me. Because quite frankly, I'm difficult. And I'm not going to stop being difficult. And if you don't like it, that says more about you than about me. Because
what do you mean you're
real
difficult? Hold on.
real journalists, people understand. Real journalists ask difficult questions.
What do you mean you're difficult?
They're not here to. I'm like I told you. It's like I'm not here to be no fucking rapper's friend.
I mean, I think both of us give off that, but I mean, what do you mean? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're difficult. It's not scripted.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
they're gonna have to answer real questions. I'm truly insightful. I really dig into the music. I'm gonna ask you difficult questions. I'm not out to be your friend. I'm not looking for a relationship with you. I just want to interview you because you're a great artist and I'm a great journalist, and therefore I'm going to ask you great journalistic questions. And quite frankly, a lot of today's artists, because they haven't been cultivated to deal with media, shy away from people like me and people like you because of that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, I reached out. I don't know, man. I reached out to a prominent Chicago MC whose name's not Kanye West. They had a book coming out, and you know, I reached out to their people, and they gracefully declined. I mean, it wasn't even like they even ignored the email or anything. And I don't know if it's because we might not be on script with other media outlets and ask some things that might not be a part of the protocol. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But
I'm not about to be part of the protocol.
But again, I don't want to get it twisted or anything, because we're always going to be professional. We're not going to sit there and ask people things that are totally out of bounds or incriminate anybody or make anybody look bad in front of their base. That's never the point. It's all about the music, and I don't understand why anybody would shy away from anything like that.
Because they're not prepared, Mike. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And too many people, you have to understand how this business really works now. And I know you do understand this. The image is so much about it. And so you can't afford to get undressed by a journalist or made to look like a fool. You can't.
I have more faith in them than that.
No, for real. You can't stand as a rapper. You can't stand next to a journalist that may have more hip hop knowledge than you. Well, it's not a good look for them. And so I do understand. That's why most of the people that have been willing to talk to me have been producers and not rappers.
Well, I think there is a job to do also as a journalist to be able to, we understand whenever anybody's sitting in front of us, I mean, the job obviously isn't to kiss ass or anything like that, but it's also to, you know, highlight that individual and the great work that they're doing. You know, we're not going to talk to people that aren't doing great work per se, right? And so right. I would hope that they would have enough trust in the process and the, you know, and just the professionalism that we carry ourselves with, that we're not here to go out there and try to go viral and make you look bad. And again, shout out to Hit Boy for coming on the program and, you know, doing a full sit down while he's at the height of, you know, one of his best runs in music. It was never about, you know, trying to get some clout off of, you know, catching him slipping or whatever. It's about the music. And I think these guys got to trust that part of it. And they got to trust themselves. Like, I don't understand why, you know, Shay Noir would shy away from, you know, sitting down with us. It would be nothing but glowing responses and giving her props and giving her just due. Because there are a lot of people who listen to us that might not be up on her yet like that. And, you know, that would just be an opportunity to just further that. And she's doing a lot of great things.
She is. She's brilliant. She's one of the best MCs in the game, period. There's not one person that we've interviewed, Mike, together or separately, where we haven't given them glowing respect and humility.
Exactly. So what's the problem? We're
Right,
not.
but that's
Yeah.
what I mean about it's like an image thing to a degree too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's
Yeah.
like they don't want to come off a certain type of way. And I understand that part of it. It's just like I just don't understand the process of the way some of the modern MC works. And it just speaks to me, once again, no real A&Rs or direction or cultivation of artists going on.
Michael Williams of the Super Chat says, what are your thoughts on Benny doing a traditional rollout by releasing 3 singles? I remember when Pusha did it for It's Almost Dry, you weren't a fan. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan of this either. But I understand that he's coming from a camp that frequently puts out a lot of material, and people have been critical of that as well. So I think he's trying to change the pattern of how his fans or how their fans, the whole Griselda movement, take in music and take in new music. So I understand that part of it. Do I think it's going to work in a traditional sense? I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm not a fan of 3 records being out, on a 12 album LP, and now we got 9 records to go. I would say more so put out 1 record right before you're about to put out the album. That's just my opinion, but
So I'll share a brief moment that I had in a conversation I had with Taj, the plug. It's been over a year now, probably. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had talked about trying to interview Nas, obviously. And she didn't mention the fact. She was like, well, she was like, some people over here think you might fly off the handle.
Mm.
And I said, well, respectfully, I said, show me the interview where I've done that. The end. You feel what I'm saying? And so I don't know what specifically as far as we're concerned. Oh, no, we've done nothing but give people their props and be glowing about their projects when we interview them, because that's the reason that we want to interview them. Like,
the
we're
conversations
not one
we
of the people that are
have
out
here are conversations you and I have, and with the audience and all that. Like, so yeah, if we're flying off the handle or this and that, this is regular individual conversations. I mean, that doesn't stop them from going on, Math Hoffa and stuff like that. Those guys do that when they're on their own too.
Correct.
So
that's why I said, well, respectfully, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of dropped it after that, because it's like, to be honest with you, it's like, oh, well, if that's how his camp feels, guess who don't want the interview? Because that's why I'm saying I'm not that guy, and I think he's the greatest MC of all time. But just the fact that she told me that somebody in the camp felt that way, who shall remain anonymous, you know what I'm saying? Because I know who kind of said that. It's like, nah, good on asking the interview. Because you know what I'm saying? Because man to man, if I were to see that person, I would check them on that as a man. You know what I'm saying? So I let that go. Because they had no reason to say that based on the interviews that you and I have done. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, the work speaks for itself. Black Wealth and Power with the super chat says, does Benny want the Source era love for 2024 mainstream media? I mean, that doesn't exist in that format anymore. It just doesn't. And really, if you're looking, sorry about that. It's the middle of the day. People hit me up. But if you're looking for that, honestly, according to hip hop, is that. Because the Source, really, we look back at it, even though they were a major publication, they were as grassroots or as big as a grassroots publication for hip hop could be in that time. They were very East Coast biased now. Now, I'm not going to get that twisted. But if you want to talk about a publication or an outlet that was able to galvanize people who were hip hop fans, the Source was able to accomplish that successfully in that era. And if you're looking for that in today's time, I'm not saying us specifically, but if you're looking for that, you need to be looking at the Rap Roundtables, the A2HH Lives, the Fresh Outs, and other grassroots platforms that cover hip hop. That's what that is collectively. If that's the kind of stuff you're looking for, you're not getting that at the Breakfast Club. And I'm not shitting on them and their platform and what they do. They're great at what they do, but they don't cover music in that way. And that's just the honest truth. They don't.
Right. Like, how about this? We're going to talk about 21 Savage's album. Mike, I have a page of notes. Like, because we're a show that's about the music. Like the rest of my notes are all like bullet points. The rest of the notes are about 21 Savage's album because my concern is the music. It always has been.
Mm-hmm.
We started this because we love the music.
I mean,
Like,
this started off as it's a music review show. Yeah.
Yeah, this show started about one of my music reviews, Jay Electronica and Jay-Z, ironically enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the birth of this show. It's always been about the music over here. And so, you know, and the whole platform not being big enough thing, that's the thing about how it exists now. I mean, not being funny, Mike, we do YouTube numbers sometimes that are comparable to people's record sales that turn us down.
I know. Uncle Fran with the super chat says, 3L Man from PSA Hip Hop is from New York, but he's in Florida now. Okay. Once a New Yorker, always a New Yorker. That's what a New Yorker told me. Let's see. I think I saw Jay Short check in. Shout out to Jay Short on the holiday. Said this anti-Hit Boy sentiment needs to be called out. Every project he's involved with, we have to hear about how some C-list producer should have done the album. It's getting corny at this point. Shout out to Jay Short repping. All right. I mean, I guess we can get off of that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the album. But
How excited are you, Mike? Because I think I'm more excited than you for Benny's album. Like, I think I love Bron more than you do, too. Because I expected you to hit me up once you heard Bron and be like, yo, this right here. And you didn't do that. So I was like, oh, okay.
I'm just waiting to see, man. I'm waiting to see the whole thing. And honestly, when it comes to the critics that Benny speaks of, I feel like he's talking about me. I mean, I really do. Because I'm the only one that's been saying that I'm worried about the fact that, you know, the process is taking so long. The album keeps getting pushed back. I said that's not a good sign. I said that about everybody. I said that about Kanye. I said that about Kendrick. This is not a personal critique or anything like that. And I've said on this show that Benny was my favorite coming out of the Griselda camp. You know, so I don't know. I'm reserving judgment. I'm feeling like I feel about the Cowboys at this point, right? I'm reserving judgment until I get the whole thing. And I'm not comparing him to the Cowboys in no facet.
I'm about to say, you need to put some respect on Benny's name and not compare him to that sham of a franchise.
Nah, I'm not comparing him to the Cowboys. I'm just saying I want to hear the whole album. Because I hear the whole thing of it's going to be the hardest Def Jam album since DMX's Dark and Hell is Hot and all of that. And I get it. It's a lot of pressure to drop your... Is this his Def Jam debut?
Correct.
Okay. That's pressure in itself. And then you have a fan base that's Griselda's fan base where they expect a certain brand of hip-hop. You have that to deal with. And you have to deal with the fact that, you know what, I need to expand my reach. I'm sure that's more of a Def Jam pressure as well. And probably something he wants to do. So there's a lot of pressure out there. And so when we're getting on this microphone and being honest, I guess it adds to the pressure. And maybe it's a reaction to that. But I am excited to hear some great hip-hop music. But when you have somebody talking about the critics and the critics need to slow down, it doesn't make me feel confident that they're confident in the music that's coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jay didn't have to go out there and bash the critics before the Blueprint came out. He understood what he was making. You know what I'm saying?
First of all, Jay didn't have a reason to bash the critics before the Blueprint because all the critics loved him, Mike.
That's true. But I don't think
there was no criticism being had. He was being treated. He was talking about my robe. He was the one that was getting treated like King Jaffe up in here.
Okay, that's a fair point. What about Volume 2?
Call the Flower Girls.
Yeah?
Call the Flower Girls. Throw some rose petals down when that nigga's walking around the Blueprint, Mike. Throw some rose petals down when Jay's making the Blueprint.
Well, let's bring out Nas in this. Fresh off of Nostradamus. When he's promoting Stillmatic, did he have to go out there and bash critics? No, he understood what he made.
I do remember an interview. I remember when he went on 106 in Park and they were clapping for him. And he said, thanks, I don't get a lot of love out here. And so he felt some type of way, Mike.
Yeah, but he let the music speak.
Well, he made Stillmatic.
Yeah. I mean,
conversation over.
When your back is against the wall, and that's what I've always admired about Nas and T.I. as well. back against the wall, they make some of their best stuff.
Make some of their best stuff.
Uh-huh.
Well, here's the thing about it. First of all, you're talking about, in my opinion, the best MC of all time, and arguably the most versatile and accomplished MC to come out of this region in the South. And so they're more one of ones, maybe. And so my expectations aren't that. Like, how about this? When I was watching the highlights, when I got home and I saw the highlights of the Sacramento and Milwaukee game, as soon as I seen them say, and De'Aaron Fox hit a free throw with 5 seconds left to send them up 2 points, I was like, Dame's about to hit a three-pointer to win the game. Because I know who he is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And some of the angst that Benny's feeling is because for as great as he can and as great as he can be, we still don't know who he is. You know what I'm saying?
I think he has the ability to make an album of the year. I think that
but we don't.
Hit Boy.
You see how you keep saying you think?
I do.
Hold on. Like, that's what I mean. It's like when I saw them highlights last night and they said De'Aaron Fox hit the free throw to take him up 2, I was like, there's 5 seconds on the clock. Dame getting the ball. Good night. Because I know who he is. We still don't know who Benny is in that regard. And he knows that that's the rhetoric about him. And so some of this response is in relationship to that, in my opinion. And that's part of why I don't take it personal. It's like, oh, it's definitely not about me. Even if you're talking about me and Mike D, oh, it ain't about me. It's about you.
It's about the music.
Because like you said, Mike, he's somebody that we have said is capable of being the best MC in this game.
Yeah.
He is somebody that we have said is capable of having a verse of the year. He is somebody that is capable of having album of the year. And he is yet to make the project that reflects that talent.
Freddie, and I'm not saying this, because of whatever they got going on. I'm just bringing up Freddie because he's an artist that has a similar fan base as the Griselda movement, right? They were heavy collaborators and all of that, and make that brand of hip hop that many Griselda fans gravitate to. Freddie has proven that he can do that time after time. You know what I'm saying? And we would. These type of, I don't even want to say critiques, but these type of questions wouldn't even arise with Freddie at this point because he's proven that. Like, with Alfredo, even with Soul separately, like, we know. Bandana.
Pinata.
Yeah.
The Freddie album, I was going back and listening to some of Freddie's old stuff. Like, Freddie been making great albums for a long time. He is the current, the most underrated catalog in the last 10 years is Freddie's catalog.
Easy. Yeah. No.
Easy.
He has some stellar work.
And I'll say this to finish off, and this is where it's really all about the music for me. And you're the one that pointed this out to me because I like Sly Green on Burden of Proof, and you were like, nah, One Way Flight. And now when I go back and listen to One Way Flight, you know what I really think? I'm thinking like, damn, I hate that you niggas got into it. This is the best damn song on this album.
Yeah, man,
because I care about the music. I don't care if them niggas don't like each other. I don't care if Benny don't like Mike D and Coop. I care about the music.
Yeah.
And the fact that we not getting no more one-way flights with Hit Boy and Jansport J on the track.
That's unfortunate.
And Benny and Freddie on the bars with the hook. That shit hurts. Benny not liking us don't hurt.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. They should be making making great music together because they're both very talented.
What's the joint? Frank Lucas on Alfredo?
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. Benny not liking us don't piss me off if he talking about us. It's the fact that I ain't getting no more damn Frank Lucas or One Way Flight. Give a damn about how a nigga feel about me. It's about the music.
Yeah. And everything that we do here, and even when we talk the Kendrick Lamar stuff and even the J. Cole stuff, it's to push better music to come out because that's what the Source did back in the day, whether they were East Coast biased or not. When they were giving out them 5 mics, they were pushing artists to make better music. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew that regardless, their stuff was going to go through that reviewing process from the Source magazine. And for many artists, that was a push. Big Boy was very vocal, even on Skewed on the Barbie, which is on Akumina, which is 5 mics, that mattered. So obviously, when they were recording Akumina, the critiques of the Source magazine factored into how great that album became. It is what it is. So when we're in here having these real conversations and talking about the music and being very particular about it, it's for hip-hop to be better all around. I think it's a cop-out to not react by making better music, but reacting by telling the critics to slow down. No, no.
Like,
Don't
like,
slow
how about this?
down.
And this is what
Keep
I
the
mean. It's
pressure
about the
on.
music. Hold on. And this is what I mean. It's about the music. Wouldn't you be excited if Freddie was on this new Benny album?
Yeah.
It'd make you
course.
excited, wouldn't it? That's
Yeah.
what I'm about. I'm about those moments that excite me as a music listener and a lover of hip hop.
Well, speaking
That's
of
it.
hip hop,
Hip hop excites me.